Hello and good afternoon, and welcome to this airbrush tutorial on how to paint olive drab from the Vietnam War era. And you can use this paint scheme for your boats and your helicopters and your tanks. And I'll say this before I go into the technicals, that this is a very easy paint scheme and very fun to do. So let's get into it. As you can see, I'm already working on laying down all the base colors. Everything has been sped up to 4-ton speed. And the two colors that I used for this paint schemes are Vallejo Air Black and GW's Avalanche Sunset. Because that's really the theory of how to paint olive drab from this era, is that this military green that's been used for decades is basically just yellow and black mixed together in various degrees, or to 1 degree for realism. But I'm not painting realistic models. I like to paint the modulations and do highlights since I have an airbrush. As you can see right now, having laid down the base color which was just a bit of yellow into the black for a deep green, I'm now onto the highlight, where I'm adding gradually more and more yellow into this mix, and I'm applying it over the obvious highlight areas. As you can see, when I work, I'm rotating the model, and I'm using some masking techniques, business cards and liquids and all kinds of stuff that you can use, all kinds of tricks. But basically, mostly I'm angling the model so that I'm only spraying, at this point I'm spraying, I'd think about 50% of the exposed area, basically, because I don't want to destroy my dark deep green base coat, obviously. And well, there are many components to this model. There are guns and 2 hull sections, and also a kind of a control tower section that I'm working on right now. This model line is gorgeous, I have to say, from Battlefront, and used for the game that they call NAM, which is a tabletop tactical game. I'm working on the guns right now. Again, as you can see, I'm spraying approximately 50% of the exposed area. This is the main hull. Same thing. Rotating the model, working on the angles. And when you do it this way, you get a lot of practice on how to find the most effective way of doing these models. This is actually my second ATC, as it's called, this boat. And you know, there's no substitution for experience, obviously. You learn a lot by painting the same model over and over again on how to apply the maskings and just finding the right angles, the most effective paint schemes, etc. And what I'm doing right now, again, working on the main hull gun, doing some center mass highlighting on the top of the gun. This is a tent that I'm practicing on. It's really supposed to be brown. I'm gonna paint that off camera later on. I like to practice finding different angles also, and just practicing my airbrushing while I'm doing stuff, so I don't mind painting parts of the model that aren't really supposed to be painted, because I enjoy painting, basically. So again, here we're back on the main control center, I guess. Now we are on to the second part of the hull. Again, we are reinforcing the highlights, adding more yellow to the mix, rotating the model, finding all the angles, and just repeating the process. And I'll keep doing that basically until the model is done with the highlights, and then I'll show you a final step. I'll get back to that when I get to see that on video. The way that I'm recording this is obviously as a commentary to to the video that I've already mixed. So I'm not gonna look much into the camera, but I can do. As you can see right now, again, just some yellow and a small bit of black into the mix, and that's gonna be my final highlight color. And for that, I'm only gonna spray the upper exposed 10-15% of each area that I'm working on. Again, I don't want to wipe out the base color or the mid colors. Basically, there's gonna be a whole variety of colors, because since I'm airbrushing, they're all gonna overlap each other, and it's just gonna look really, really fluent. There won't be any graining or spidering or anything like that. This is a neat trick that I'm doing right now. Again, I'm using the business card to mask off a certain section of the model. And you can actually do that in a kind of a sweeping motion, which takes some practice, but it's a very efficient way to do it, and it looks great. Back on the guns and applying the highlight, practicing on the tent, the main hull gun, center mass on the top, as you can see. So basically what I'm doing right now is just I'm working all these components and reinforcing the paints until the point where I'm getting the coverage and the highlights and the transitions that I want, basically. And as I said before, I'll keep doing that until the model is done. This video is an edit from, I think, like a 1 hour or 2 hour session even, edited down into 10 minutes for your enjoyment, and hopefully you'll pick up a few techniques along the way. Basically, I learned how to paint with my airbrush watching YouTube videos of this character, so now it's gotten to the point where I want to give something back to you guys. Again, I'm mixing more of the highlight to reinforce. Now we are back to the final stage. The highlighters are done, but as you can see, I'm mixing the darkest color again. And why am I doing that? Well, basically, I want to go back and reinforce the contrast because some was wiped out during the work, and I want to make the model as striking as possible. So I'm basically going back to the first base color. Now I'm working the reverse angles basically. I'm not painting on the high points, I'm gonna paint on the deep points. Again, just to reinforce the contrast and make it look really good basically. So I'm gonna do that for all the components, and when that's done, then basically the model is done, and I can't do any further in terms of building contrast on the model. Well, at least not in this airbrushing stage. Obviously, the model is not done. I'm gonna apply some edge highlights also, and some shading and some null oil and all that good jazz and stuff. But again, as you can see, I'm just working all the components and applying all the deepest green in the recesses, in all the deepest areas, and that really makes all the sections of each area of the model stand out, and hopefully make it interesting, not only to play with, but also to watch and enjoy. I have a plan for these models that once I get all my Vietnam era models done, I want to try and delve into doing some battle reports for you guys. And obviously to have some strikingly good models, nice looking models is part of my plan too. So that's it. Applying all the contrast and working all the reverse angles, so to speak. Really helps to make the model pop before edge highlighting and varnishing and shading and all that stuff. And that should lead us to a short demonstration of the end product in just a second, I think. There you have it. That's the airbrushing steps done for all the components, the guns, the hulls, etc. And with that said, thank you so much. I really enjoyed doing this tutorial for you guys, and hopefully you can use it for something. Please like, subscribe and share and all that stuff. It really helps me a lot for future projects. So thank you and take care.